Now, you, like me, may have access to the internet, and you, like me, may have noticed every time you open a new web browser, it opens to an MSN homepage. And this is our collective source of the unbiased facts about what's happening in the world today. And you, like me, may have also realized this media has a severe case of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, and you, like me, may have noticed that last week their TDS exploded in severity from merely an average level of insanity up to 11. The cause of this seems to be rooted in the publishing of a new book by a woman named Maggie Haberman titled Confidence Man: The Making of Donald Trump and the Breaking of America. Who is Maggie Haberman, you may ask yourself? Born in October 30th, 1973, she is a White House correspondent for the New York Times and a political analyst for CNN. Born to a privileged family, her father's name is Clyde Haberman, who was also a longtime journalist for the New York Times. Her mother, Nancy, was a media communications executive at Rubenstein Associates. And while her book isn't slated to be out until October 4th, the bombshell revelations contained therein have spread like wildfire throughout the liberal media. Here are 7 of the most hysterical examples. Number 1. Trump directed Democratic staffers of color to serve food during a White House dinner. That's right, former President Donald Trump mistook a group of Democratic congressional staffers for waitstaff and directed them to serve dinner during the early years of his presidency. Thankfully, White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus corrected the president and fetched the actual waitstaff. That's right, Donald Trump's privilege is so huge. He grew up in a culture that hasn't been seen since the 1830s in the antebellum South. Number 2. Confused Trump, nearly convinced to bomb Mexico by health official wearing military-style uniform. Yes, our former president was such a buffoon, he built a fortune of approximately $10 billion in the most cutthroat and competitive real estate market in the world, and he thought a key health advisor was a military advisor and seriously proposed bombing raids in Mexico to slow the flow of drugs into the U.S. One can only wonder how fast this bombing raid would have been approved of if there had been a direct pipeline for these immigrants to get to Martha's Vineyard. Number 3. Trump told Chris Christie that he would condemn white supreme pizzas, but not right away, because a lot of these people vote. Yet again, showing his buffoonery by his inability to do basic math, since the statistics on those who actually identify as white supreme pizzas is a fraction of a percent, and those that oppose any sort of racial discrimination make up the vast majority of Americans. Of course, when even institutions like the dictionary are so thoroughly infiltrated that they're willing to change the definition of words real time in order to support the particular political advocacy of the moment, that percentage of Americans defined as white supreme pizzas goes from a fraction of a percent to nearly 60% of the country. Number 4. Donald Trump credited his biracial ex-girlfriend's intelligence to her, quote, white side. Yes, now, even being in love with a biracial woman is not proof of your lack of racism. It is now actually possible to love half of a woman while hating the other half. Exceptions including my bipolar ex-girlfriend aside. Now, little did you know to be a writer at the New York Times that you had to possess empathic superpowers. And of course, anyone that questions the veracity of these astonishing claims of emotion reading is just a racist. Number 5. Trump told guests he wasn't using the same White House toilet as Obama. You understand what I am talking about. Trump periodically told visitors that his White House workspace had a secret bathroom and explained he'd completely renovated the restroom after taking over for Barack Obama. But staffers would correct him and explain that only the toilet seats had been changed, which is customary during presidential transitions. You understand what I'm talking about, Trump said to one visitor. The guest interpreted the remark to mean Trump did not want to use the same bathroom as his black predecessor. This fetishistic obsession with Barack Obama and basic human body functions goes back to his paying Russian prostitutes to pee on the bed that the former president has slept in. Am I right? Number 6. Trump asked British Prime Minister Theresa May to imagine if some animals with tattoos raped your daughter in conversation about abortion. The graphic statement suggests a private sympathy with abortion rights, despite his record. So he stacked the Supreme Court with pro-life justices, but secretly supported pro-choice. And so I have to ask my liberal friends, 4D chess or 4000D chess? You decide. The statement is even more bizarre because Theresa May has no children and has apparently disclosed that her and her husband are incapable of having them. Yet more proof that Trump is just merely an unhinged, confused, and mean-spirited giant orange meanie. And number 7, brought to you by Queer Tea. Queer Tea? Trump creeped out his staff by obsessing over their sex lives, especially the gay ones. According to a new book, the former president regularly wore his homophobia and transphobia like badges of honor among his staffers, sometimes leaving them stunned. Yes, not only was he dealing with unfounded allegations of Russian influence and 24/7 ankle-biting by the media, the deep state, and even his own party, while at the same time ushering in the strongest economy of my lifetime and bringing peace to the Middle East, he was obsessing over which of his staffers might be gay. And who could forget the unbelievably cringy story from the week leading up to the second presidential debate in 2016 when then-advisor Reince Priebus asked Trump a debate prep question from the point of view of a female transgender student. Priebus, as the student, asked about using the girls' restroom, to which Trump reportedly responded, "Cocked or decocked?" A silence fell over the room until an unnamed person finally said, "Decocked?" prompting Trump to make a chopping hand gesture. "With cock or without cock?" Trump said again, according to the book. An advisor asked the candidate what difference that would make, and Trump reportedly answered, "What if a girl was in the bathroom and someone came in, lifted up a skirt, and a schlong was hanging out?"
A just question, my liege.
Well, I am shocked and disgusted that anyone would even think of these questions, let alone ask them in public, says this observer. And while Twitter rages over whether Maggie Haberman committed a felony by her failure to report these supposed felonies, saving them instead for her book, which just coincidentally is coming out 1 month before an election, I don't care, because Orange Man is bad. And I, for one, am grateful for the fortification of the last election and the censorship of any sort of questions of the veracity thereof by big tech, working hand in hand with big business, big media, and every last tentacle of the deep state, so that we are now able to restore some sanity, restore some dignity to
our democracy.